Welcome back to another episode of the PVM focused Ultimate Ironman. One of the highlights of the last episode was that we completed the Zamorak Godsword, which was really nice to have completed because it allowed us to store it in the stash unit, which saved us several bag spaces. In this episode, we're getting right into it and jumping into a few more Chambers of Zurich as well as some other activities. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy. We're going to be taking a break from Chambers of Zurich. I'm just feeling like stepping away from it for a little bit of time, and we'll eventually come back. I obviously need to get quite a few things still from here, which is both prayer scrolls and, potentially any other drops. But I would like to try and do some of the other things that we're going to need to do anyways for getting ready for the Inferno. With all that being said, here is the loot so far from 67 Chambers of Zurich. Pretty standard stuff, I think, for the normal drops, nothing really crazy in particular. A good amount of herbs, which is awesome because we are going to need lots of herbs to eventually get to 90 herb lore. I think this is the most chaotic my inventory has ever been. It is completely full. I mean, we have a couple of random stuff that we're sitting in death storage, and this is completely full, and wow, it is a lot of stuff. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but we're going to go and try and do a couple of quests. And the reason we're going to do that is because we need to end up doing Making Friends with My Arm. That will allow us to have an extra herb patch, which is going to tail in nicely to what we're doing next. But also, it allows us to build a couple of different fire pits that are just nice to have. They're not super incredibly impactful to where it makes a huge difference in the long run or anything like that, but it's nice quality of life things that I should just knock out. That is Swan Song completed, so now we just need to complete Cold War, and then we'll be good to go. Cold War has finally been completed. This is the first time I've ever done this quest, I think, in both Oldschool Runescape as well as pre-EOC Runescape, and wow, this quest is pretty tedious on an Ultimate Ironman. I think on a non-Ultimate Ironman, probably not such a bad quest, and with that, we have completed Making Friends with My Arm, and that is a pretty nice quest to have done. Again, it gives a disease-free herb patch, and with the salt technology, we can make a teleport in our house to quickly get here and add that to our farm runs, which, this would have been really nice to do a long time ago, especially as I was farming seeds through Slayer and all that, but hey, we got it done nonetheless, and this will be great because the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be killing Giant Mole. So, before we kill Giant Mole, we're obviously going to build a few of the fire pits, and we're going to need to mine the salt so that we can build the teleport in the house. Alright, we finally got all of the supplies that we need to both make the teleport in the house as well as all of the fire pits. So, I believe I have not actually added anything to this, so I don't know how this works. I guess we can see that we have everything completed here, and I guess we just drag it over and then save and close. Oh, okay. And then it will just use up our supplies. So there we go. Now we have the Weiss teleport, which takes us right here next to the herb patch. That's the first fire pit completed. Alright, this should be the second one built and completed, which should remove... yeah, it removes the decay of your stats as well as your run energy. This is going to be the last one we build. And nice, so now we don't need the candor and headgear in here, and we have a eternal light that lights up the whole place. So this will be nice because we are going to be going to Mole shortly. Alright, we're back at the Giant Mole, and we're starting off at 398 KC, and I've done some pretty rough calculations of how much Mole we're going to need to do, but we end up needing about 2,500 bird's nest or so. Alright, and that is 800 KC at the Giant Mole. And I'm just a kill short, but that is 900 KC. Alright, there it is, 1000 KC at the Giant Mole. And this is actually where we're going to be stopping. Originally, I was talking about going until I had enough to cover all my supplies, but I realized there isn't really a rush on that aspect of it. I can always come back to it and do more mole whenever I need to. And this will give me plenty of bird's nests for now, which will give me additional seeds to farm. So this is good enough, and I'm happy with where we're at 1000 KC. Alright, we got everything in a spory, and wow, I have not seen the desk storage in a little while, but we've got a ton of stuff in here, and it is worth over 400 million GP now. That is pretty wild to think about. 400 million GP with, you know, a lot of that GP value being just from large PVM drops, and man, you love to see it. I mean, some of these are just like 40 mil for the ACB. It's crazy. We're mining some volcanic ash, and this is because we're gonna need quite a lot of ultra compost. So this will be nice though, because we are going to have a fresh inventory while we do this, and so it won't be tedious trying to manage, you know, little bits of inventory and filling compost and all of that stuff. It's going to hopefully be a lot more straightforward with this. Just a quick update, we have finished farming the quarums, and we have 589, so we're almost at 600 with that, and that's pretty good. So we're out of those seeds, and now we are doing the irits, and we have our toadflax after that. Alright, that is 71 agility, the first agility level since we've been back. Yeah, nothing notable from 71 agility, but we're going to keep going. I think the next notable milestone from agility is getting 76, because 76 will allow us to use the Zolandra fairy ring teleport and then jump the rock with the agility level. So that one actually will make a difference, because we will inevitably have to go back to Zulrah. So we're just continuing on with doing our farming runs as often as we can and doing a little bit of agility in between, and we're up to 83 marks of grace now. And I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but I probably should go ahead and do the Kandarin medium and hard diaries, not only because it gives more marks of grace, but because it also allows me to teleport to the bank, which speeds up that course a decent amount and actually makes it really good. So I really should go ahead and do that, because I actually pretty much already have the requirements for basically all of it. Alright, and that is Elemental Workshop 2 done. That was actually a super fast quest. It's much easier with the Quest Helper plugin, because it just kind of makes it super straightforward, not having to go back and read text from the wiki and things like that. But wow, that was pretty quick. Alright, and with that kill, we actually completed the Kandarin Hard Diary, which is nice. So we can claim our medium reward as well as the Kandarin Hard reward. Alright, and there we go. We have the Kandarin Headgear 3, which allows us to teleport once a day to Sherlock, I believe. We got 2 experience lamps, and then obviously the thing we were really concerned with was just the fact that we can now teleport to Sears, which you can see here is the secondary cast, and this will put you right in front of the bank, which is going to be probably our closest way to get to a bank booth. That's very, very easy and convenient for us. As well as for doing the Sears agility course, we can obviously configure this. We can set this to Sears Village by default, and now when we left click, we will teleport right here, and we can help speed up our course just a tiny bit. Alright, you know me, bad with getting the levels, because to be honest, I just don't constantly record, so I can't get the levels usually, but that is 81 farming, which is awesome. It's been quite a while of doing agility, but that is 76, which is where we're going to be stopping for now, because this will give us a decent amount of stamina potions. We have 194 marks of grace, and with that we can make just about 1900 doses. So that'll be a pretty good amount of stamina for now. So now that we're done with agility, we are still farming out some seeds, quite a lot of toadflax to get through still, but we can start doing some Vorkath, which is what we are going to be gearing up for shortly after this farming run. And I figure we can just do the farm runs in between. Hopefully I have a decent amount of inventory space now to work with. We'll have to see after we get geared for it. With this last potion, we are getting 83 Herblore. There isn't really anything too notable from 83, but I guess it does make boosting for antivenoms a little bit easier. Instead of a +5, you can just get a +4. Okay, I know. Before you say anything, I know. This is a terrible inventory setup for doing Vorkath. This is probably like the most scuffed inventory setup we could possibly have. And there is not honestly a whole lot we can do about it. I don't even know if I'll be able to get a kill with 5 pieces of food, but we are going to try. We are going to try. That's the best we can do. Alright, we've given it an honest effort at this point. I have done maybe 7 or 8 attempts so far to do a kill with 6 spaces of food, and I have only been able to complete 1 kill, and it was down to the wire where I basically had 20 hit points left at the end of the kill. So while we continue to work on farming, in the meantime, we are going to start to use up the U logs. Might as well get these prepared. Okay, we've spent a lot of time farming, but we finally have the 1800 or so toad flax that we can use with the mole skins and mole claws. So we're going to redeem these and get our bird's nests, and then we'll go through them. Wow, from 1800 bird's nests, we did not get the non-ring or seed bird's nests, which is pretty odd, right? That is 84 herb lore. That is a cool level. Nothing really unlocked from that. Alright, we just got a master task completed. It was the Vorkath Speed Chaser, and that was our fastest PB by a lot. That was like a 30 or 35 second PB. So 1 minute and 11 seconds. I honestly am not sure we'll be able to do better than that. We landed both Dragon Warhammer specs, and then we basically non-stop hit like 40s and 50s and did the kill insanely fast. I actually don't think it could be much faster than that given my gear setup and everything. Okay, I know this is a little bit of a jump since the last clip, but I figured I'd explain what we're doing. So I died at Vorkath, and that kind of just led me to decide, well, we got 250 bolts that are unfinished, which is not a lot, but I mean, it's enough to at least get started and see how it goes with doing a little bit of Inferno. Again, we're just kind of testing at this point. I know this is going to be a long grind, and we're probably going to have to grind for more supplies, including maybe darts, scales, etc. So, with that being said, I am working on getting the Ancient Staff now, because this is another piece that I have needed for this grind, and I haven't done it yet, and I'm killing mummies currently in the bottom of the Desert Treasure Pyramid. So yeah, I mean, this is going to take a while. It says the drop rate from the level 103 mummies is a 1 in 513. So I've probably already at this point killed maybe close to 100. And nothing so far. Funnily enough, right as I was talking about that, I got the Ancient Staff drop, which is really good because I did not know how long this was going to take. Alright, we just did a quick fire cape. It's actually been quite some time since I got the first fire cape on this account. That was definitely one of the first big goals I went for. I remember last time I did it, I had like 70 range or something, and oh my goodness, I think so this PB was 50 minutes. I overestimated kind of how much food I was going to need. I was thinking I was actually going to run out early on because I used a brew, but to be honest, I could have just like tanked a lot of waves rather than trying to set them up, and I still would have came out perfectly fine. So we definitely could have cut off like probably at least 5 minutes off this PB. We are going to go and trade this in real quick, or I guess not trade it in, but we're going to go sacrifice this cape so that we can actually start to do the Inferno, which is why we did the fight caves in the first place. Alright, so we're sacrificing the fire cape, and yes, we don't need the fire cape, and there we go. Now we can enter the Inferno. I think he's just talking about the lore of what is going on down there, and yeah, now we can just jump in, which is cool. That is unlocked. Okay, so we geared up, and it is quite a process. I did not actually think it was going to be that bad, but it's a little bit difficult because I don't have the ability to use fairy rings to get to my house, so I have to kind of do some different stuff, I think, than most people might in this situation. So I have a couple of options when I need to restock. Now, you might be wondering, why do I have the looting bag in my inventory and the coins? Well, the coins was just an accident, and unfortunately I don't want to, redo all of this just so I can put the coins away. So I'm just going to hold on to them, but you can see from the rest of my inventory that this is essentially what we would be going in with anyways. If anything, we could bring in maybe one extra brew or one extra superstore, which we may end up doing in the future by replacing the coins. But for practicing purposes, it actually makes more sense, and I didn't think about this at first, but it makes a lot more sense to not have to death pile or death storage over and over when you want to do another Inferno attempt. Instead, what you do is you actually use the looting bag and you just keep your potions in here. Now, I did mess up and I withdrew my ARMs after I had already got my looting bag and got set up. So I have 3 extra spaces in here, which I'm going to need to fix on my next run, which I will do. But I'm going to be holding on to these as well as the runes so I can easily get to my house and do whatever I need to do before putting them away. But yeah, that keeps it really simple because then you can actually just quickly break this down by destroying it, get your items out, and then start a new run quickly without having to go back to your death storage and do it all over again. So this is me from the future, and I just want to say that these Inferno attempts, if you want to call them that, were absolutely awful, and I, at the time, gave up pretty quickly, as you'll see in the following clips. But don't worry, we're not giving up on the Inferno. We're definitely going to come back here, and we're going to continue to try and learn and progress in the Inferno. Okay, so we just did like 1 or 2 runs. I just died at wave 22, I think, or 21, I guess. And actually, I am not going to have time to do some runs right now. So I'm going to be shifting towards some other goals that are still in line with the Inferno because this really is the end goal. I will say from these 2 attempts that I am definitely not going to be able to do this anytime soon. It's definitely going to take quite a lot of effort. I got to wave 21 and I had to use 2.5 brews, which is definitely, not good. I think right now it takes a long time for it to register in my brain what each of the mobs do. I keep forgetting to switch my prayers between the 2 for the blob, and then also I keep forgetting that when you kill them, they actually switch down into being 3 little mobs. And I don't really know what the best way of killing those is. I've been trying to burst them, or barrage them. It doesn't really feel like I'm hitting very frequently. So I don't know, maybe I really do need the Aram's legs. But I think for now, I am going to actually go and do some more Zulrah.